Scott Walker very flat out says that his first order of business is going to be shoring up the conservative base, reaching out to the conservative base. Scott Walker believes that there are a lot of Americans who live their lives as conservatives, but they don't vote that way for the usual reasons. He thinks they are what we used to call the Reagan Democrats. And he thinks that he can go get them because he has met them. As governor of Wisconsin, he's traveled around and he's campaigned. And he's told stories and speeches of meeting people who say to him, for example, in fact, he told me once, he said, I ran into a guy who told me that he didn't know he was a conservative. He didn't know he was a Republican until talk radio came along. And he didn't know what he was. And he thinks there are a lot of people out there that live conservatively, want to raise their kids. And by that, I mean the values that we associate with conservatism. He thinks there are a lot of people out there, but they're either independents or they're reluctant Democrats. And because of whatever branding or other issues, that they just don't vote Republican. He thinks they can be persuaded to vote Republican. He thinks they can be told that he is their candidate and the Republican Party is their home. So that's one of the outreach efforts that he's going to make. In addition to all of that, Scott Walker has a track record. Scott Walker doesn't have to tell you what he will do if he's elected because all he has to do is point to what he has done. He just signed into law another budget in the state of Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin is a blue state. He just signed a budget which eliminates tenure. He just signed a budget which gets closer to balancing the budget of the state of Wisconsin. He's done remarkable. He has implemented a conservative agenda against everything the Democrat Party has to throw at him. And he's beat them 3 different times, which we've heralded here quite often and talked about it quite often. So he's the one guy in the race with a conservative track record, the one guy in a race that has shown how to defeat the media and Democrat coordinated attacks on conservatives. He's shown how to hang in and be tough. And so he's the one guy that has something other than promises to make. Now, there are other factors, too, in presidential races that are impossible to account for. You never know how somebody's going to come off to others on TV, for example, which is a big deal now. You don't know what's going to happen in debates. You don't know if there's going to be a dark horse. Nobody knows what's really going to become of Trump, how long Trump's going to hang in. The media is obsessed with Trump right now. They're obsessed. They're convinced that Trump's destroying the Republican Party, which they want, by the way. They would love nothing better than for that to happen. You've got some Republican establishment types now getting very, very worried that all these assaults on Trump are going to lead to him going third party. And if he goes third party, you can say hello to Hildebeest. Because that's what's going to happen. If any of these guys goes third party, it's hello, Hildebeest. But here's one thing, folks, those of you who are for the Trumpster, this is something I need you to hear me say. I need you to actually hear this. We are told that in a standard, ordinary, everyday campaign, it's fair game for all the Republicans to go for the grand prize. And in the process of a primary, it's impossible not to attack your opponents. You have to. You have to beat your opponents. Sometimes the attacks, even within the party, get pretty vicious. But they're never so vicious that when it's all over, they can't unify. And it's a very fine line. It's a very close line everybody has to watch. You can't go so overboard in criticizing anybody that if they get the nomination, you can't walk it back with credibility. Well, I'm here to tell you that is happening with Trump. You've got people on Fox. You have Republican Party establishment types You've got Republican consultants.